ready. Let's head out of the feature match area for round 15 here from Pittsburgh. Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Pittsburgh. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Randy Bueller, and we're in round 15. This is the decider. This is going to be the round that decides who makes it into our top 8 and who doesn't. Now, as the standings have fleshed out, it's actually 4 slots still open that the players are going to be vying for here, so not a lot to go around. There was a lot of players in this tournament, over 2,600 played in this tournament, so you need a really good record to get in, and it turns out you're going to need to get to 39 match points and still have your tiebreakers hold up to get in from this point for the players who are still trying to get in. Now, this matchup we have here, Randy, is Infect for Brad Nelson versus Hatebears, green-white, for Craig Wescoe. And are we going to see some actual combat math here? We've seen a lot of I'm going to do my thing, you're going to do your thing this weekend, and this one maybe is a little more interactive.
We'll see.
Question mark?
I mean, Brad's hoping that he doesn't have to give Craig the ability to block, but Brad's now gone 2 turns without putting an Infect creature onto the table.
Spellskite's the first addition to the board for Brad Nelson as he passes the turn back to Craig, who's got a Voice of Resurgence. And is kind of figuring out how he wants to proceed with this turn.
Is that 2 paths on the left edge of Craig's hand?
Does look like it, yes. He's also got a Tectonic Edge and a Ghost Quarter in his hand.
Yeah, those aren't as relevant in this match as they were last round when we saw Craig hate out the Amulet player.
Yeah, Ghost Quarter will come in handy, though, because you'll see pretty often that this Infect deck will try to go to the skies.
Sure.
And win with an Inkmoth Nexus, though.
That's
we don't
fair.
see one currently.
Yeah, and Craig goes ahead and fires off that path while Brad stepped out. Down goes Spellskite, clearing a path for Voice of Resurgence.
Yeah, and Leonin Arbiter.
No searching.
Just no sirs that one. And this is, one of the angles that Craig's deck can attack on. It primarily attacks from 3 different positions. One of them is your life
I think
total.
you primarily attack from 3 positions.
Okay.
I question your grammar, Marshall.
All right, sorry. However you're supposed to say that. It hits from 3 different angles. It attacks your life total with the creatures. It also attacks your mana by either making your spells cost more or by taking away your lands. And it attacks your ability to search through your library, which sort of dovetails with the mana attack. And also just prevents a lot of cards like fetch land sometimes. You'll see a lot of modern decks will try to go for different ways to search through their library. And Craig's deck's pretty good at stopping that from happening.
Yeah, that Arbiter has really been a revelation for me this weekend. There's so many clever combos baked into this Hatebears deck. No searching with Tech Edge, no searching with Ghost Quarter, no searching with Path to Exile. Does Brad really Brad kept a draw with no Infect creatures, didn't he?
He has not put one on the battlefield yet, I will say that.
I mean, I could see leading with Spellskite because you want to defend. You're the only one you have. Yeah, that draw did not work out. He kept a draw with no Infect creatures. And then,
scooped him up here?
Failed to put anything together before Craig had a clock, and there was no way for Brad to get through. Crazy.
Wow.
I think that was a little bit of a quick scoop from Brad there. I mean, that felt to me like a little bit tilty. Why did I keep that hand? What was I thinking? Why did I keep that hand? Handful of Giant Growth, nothing to point him at.
All right, well, let's jump over to our other table where we've got Mike Sigrist with Amulet Bloom playing against Derek Campbell, who's on Jund. And they're both at 12-2. Now, how did you have them on the rankings as far as winning in status here?
I firmly in the crossing your fingers category. Like live, but not locked. Will be the winner. I think if nothing changes in anybody's tiebreakers, I believe the winner of this will finish 9th. But it's all super close, right? It's 70.83, 70.45.
Okay.
Like we're down at the 3rd decimal point, so.
All right, well, Sigrist has an Amulet here. Facing down a Tarmogoyf that was freshly cast by Derek. Sigrist looks like he's kind of worked his way through his deck. He's cast a couple of Serum Visions. It looks like one of them may have been taken by a Inquisition of Kozilek. And then he cast the green Serum Visions. And Dark Confidant's follow-up play here for Derek. Now, I do see the double Amulet, though, for Sigrist.
Yeah, this is scary for
Derek.
Derek.
That's the scary stuff, yeah. And
No
also
3rd land.
No land, yeah. So let's see what happens.
Derek's just hoping he's going to get another turn.
Could be some serious fireworks here for Mike Sigrist
if his hand's any good at all.
Yeah, if his hands has what he needs in it. I
Definitely
think
has a Gruul Turf.
Is he short a Titan here?
Well, he's got a Hive Mind.
He does have a Hive Mind, yeah.
But
he's short a Pact or a Titan.
I think, yeah, Simeon Spirit Guide, he can play the Hive Mind off the Spirit Guide and a land. He's got a Vesuva, but that doesn't do anything. Is there no Teleria West in there?
He's got a Summer Bloom, too. He's got infinite mana here.
Oh,
he
wow.
just doesn't have anywhere to put it.
Doesn't have anything to do with it, except he has a Hive Mind with no Pact.
I mean, is there something to be said for just getting the Hive Mind on the table?
Maybe? Wow, he really does have just 1 billion mana.
I mean, Derek's going to start drawing cards with Dark Confidant. It would be a shame to have it thought seized away.
Right. Yeah, makes sense. Let's just put Hive Mind on the table.
But he just doesn't have anything to do with all this mana. So Hive Mind it is. He's going to have more live draws here. He is under some amount of pressure. Can we get a Tarmographic up here? I miss him.
Sorcery and land.
Taking a look at Derek's list to see if there's any way he can interact with this Hive Mind here in game 1.
I mean, he could pay for a Summoner's Pact next turn. Not yet, though. This is the last turn where Mike can just kill him with a Summoner's Pact.
He also has 2 Maelstrom Pulse in the main deck.
And he drew the Summoner's Pact.
That was a Pulse. Let's just, yeah,
that's game,
Pact.
right?
Yeah, let's just stay here for just a moment.
The fact that Derek missed that land drop is crucial.
Yeah, all he has to do is just cast it, right? Yeah, nice draw. Derek's going to be like, really?
Wow.
All right.
I mean, Mike's also going to...
That's
it.
it.
Right. I mean, that Mike's looking over like, do you want me to go through the motions? Should I get my Primeval Titan and figure out what else I'm going to do? Like, if Derek doesn't scoop for some reason, Mike just puts a backup plan together.
Siggy says, well, that was the plan. All right, this looks a little better here. So Brad's gonna Gitaxian Probe. I didn't quite get a look at everything.
I saw Choke, which is exciting.
Okay, but Glistener Elf turn 1 here. Much different start for Brad Nelson.
Craig's
never stuck an Infect creature in game 1 at all.
Yeah, just scooped with a handful of Giant Crits. Aether Vial for Craig. Craig didn't. That hand doesn't have much, right? It's got 2 Aether Vials. Is that it? Might have a Spellskite.
It does have a Spellskite.
Okay. Spellskite's pretty good.
That's business, yeah.
Tarmographic is going to watch this game. It's just hanging out. It's an interesting game. I don't blame him.
Oh, you scared him away.
Sorry.
To be fair, he wasn't invited. Yeah, so Choke and a pair of Smiters. And yeah, another Aether Vial.
Oh. Brad drew the answer. It's going to be a 4-0 spell skite, I think.
Twisted Image?
Yeah. That's what he drew off. Get probe.
Very nice.
But now, okay. Wow, he's got Rancor? I didn't know he played Rancor.
Oh, yeah. Brad really taking his time to make sure that he sequences this out correctly. Doesn't want to get burned here. He has free reign at the moment. So it's really just up to him, but he has to map out the next turn or two to figure out how much he can get the most poison in without taking too much risk.
Yeah, and ideally without getting his breeding pool locked down by choke, too.
Indeed.
That's his only... He only has the one source of blue mana right now? Okay. Decides for Blighted Agent instead of Rancor. That was the big debate. The
And
Tom Ross counter comes out. Let's slide that down.
TikTok.
Get that bad boy on camera.
And I think what you were saying, Randy, is what we're seeing here is he's using his blue mana while the using's good.
Mm-hmm.
He knows he gets to untap it this turn, but then choke is a possibility after that. All right, there's that spell skite.
Yeah, it would have been okay to go Rancor plus Twisted Image, but he wasn't. There was no guarantee that Craig was going to give him the window for Twisted Image.
Right.
He decided he wanted to spend the blue mana on Blighted Agent while he could guarantee to be able to use it. Then this Twisted Image potentially could get locked down by choke.
That is so good against spell skite.
Twisted Image? Yeah, it's
Blue
insane.
to kill one of your most annoying possible threats and draw
A card. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Tom Ross
Here's
ticks
4
up.
more poison. That's 5 on Craig. Craig's going to activate his Aether Vial, but not put anything into play. And this Blighted Agent is major trouble for Wescoe. The Glistener Elf on its own, you know, Craig's going to be able to vial in Smiter next turn, which is pretty big. But he might not be alive. The Inkmoth Nexus is sort of looming above as well.
Yeah, I mean, even without a
potential
Giant
threat.
Growth, Brad has lethal. Like, Craig is obliged to block this turn. And even then, he loses to basically all Brad's Giant Growths. I'm not even sure Craig... Well, I guess he can play a third land and then summon the Smiter for 3. Yeah, that's... I don't think he has anything else. I don't even think he can do the choke. Because he's just dead to 5 power worth of Infect. Yeah, no choice. Summon this guy. Which lets him block a point. And it doesn't even do that.
Or does it?
Nope. I'm going to guess Brad can count to 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there is still... It does require
Oh, the
a
Aether Vial.
pump spell,
Right.
yeah, over a 2-drop, but...
Brad saw his hand a couple turns ago, and there were not 2-drops, so you just go for this.
Oh, absolutely.
Got a 2-drop? Or are we done?
We're done.
On to game 3.
All right, well, that went a lot better for Brad now. He's got a
Yeah,
little smile on his face now of like, that was a little better. Like, in game 1, he played basically no relevant spells, and Craig just sort of ran him over. And game 2, he came back, so that's good. I want to see a game 3 between those two.
Yeah, me too. Ley Line of Sanctity. Mike Sigrist says no hand destruction for you. No Thoughtseize, no Inquisition. Well, I guess there's still land destruction. Hello, Tarmographic. Summer Bloom.
Yes.
Always a little scary into a Fulminator Mage. Derek Campbell has wisely waited on the Fulminator Mage to try to get a bounce land, like this one. Comes into play, targets the Gemstone Mine. Or it doesn't target, right? The pickup ability is just pick up a land you control.
That's correct.
Although Mike telegraphed his intentions for whatever that's worth. Here's the Gemstone Mine back. Still have 2 land drops. I mean, you see this a lot when the Bloom deck doesn't have the Amulet. Summer Bloom just lets them advance their land so far that he's not going to be able to summon Primetime this turn, but next turn is plausible. Although Fulminator Mage actually does break up next turn, right?
It does. Derek's going to get a couple of damage out of it before that happens. Yeah, this deck plays, what, 27 lands? Summer Bloom often for full value. With no Amulet, it's certainly a lot less explosive.
I feel like it might still be a deck even without the Amulet, though. Like the Summer Bloom into Primetime is still pretty good. Not as good. I mean, should hypothetically the deck be forced to try to play without an Amulet, might still be able to.
Is that where you were going with that?
That's where I'm going with that.
All right, crunch in for 4 here. Does Derek Campbell is going to drop Siggy down to 14. And yeah, Simic Growth Chamber down to the Fulminator Mage, meaning that it's much less likely for Sigrist to be able to cast a Titan.
Maelstrom Pulse your ley line.
All right. Well, that's going to tell Sigrist something about what Derek Campbell has in his hand. And it means that Sigrist really needs to get the ball rolling here because it's pretty likely that Derek's going to Thoughtseize him or something next turn.
It looks like Siki's got multiple Summoners packs, but no more land. Which is kind of a tricky spot. Or some combination of Primeval Titans and Summoners packs. All right, Ancient Sterlings. Some choices. There's lands in there. There's an Engineered Explosives. And it feels like if he can just get to 6 mana and start summoning a string of Titans. Does it mean you just take a random 1 mana land? Since the other option is take an Engineered Explosives and try to kill Tarmogoyf?
It's possible. You'd have to wait till next turn to actually get the job done.
Yeah. Okay. Goes for Teleria West. And is going to transmute it.
Yeah, he still had the red floating there, so...
Now he can get a bounce land. Okay, so this gets him to 6 next turn. Teleria West and transmuted. Play the bounce land, pick up Gemstone. Now he's got 5 mana. Gemstone next turn will give him 6.
Yeah, he's got to be worried about what Campbell's... Not that he can do anything, but...
Well, his hand's kind of resilient to a Thoughtseize, right?
What else does he have in his hand?
It's got like 2 Primeval Titans,
2 Titans
and a Summoner's Pact, something like that.
Ah, okay, then he is not worried. Yeah, that's very resilient.
I mean, Cabal Therapy would be pretty good. Naming Primeval Titan. That's not a card you can play in Modern.
All right, let's jump back over.
Yeah, we got to watch Game 3.
I got to see Game 3 of our main
Wescoe,
match.
Nelson. Certainly, we'll keep you guys updated on that one. Wescoe on the play, leads with a Vial.
All right, and there it is. Turn 1 Glistener Elf for Brad Nelson. Super important to his campaign to try to make it into the top 8 here. Both of these players are 12-2, and this is game 3.
Yep.
We're viewing this one as a win and in.
Winner of this game is probably in. Very good chance of being in. I have them at 7th if nobody's tiebreakers move.
Again, Brad had a rough game 1.
Yeah, kept no infect creatures, bunch of giant growths, couple removal spells.
And just never got there. But this time he does have the elf. Aether Vial on 1. Looks like Brad's trying to decide if he wants to attack into this. I think he's clear to do so. Yeah, he's going to lead off with a Noble Hierarch to get the Exalted here.
Yeah, Craig's got multiple paths to exile in his hand. I think he just fired one off here. Maybe not.
Decides not to.
I mean, I guess if Brad had gone for a giant growth of any kind, then he would have.
Brad might crack this Misty Rainforest main phase here and leave the opening. The thing is, if he doesn't crack it and Craig goes land, then he could easily have an even Mind Sensor or something and really kind of gum up the works. But Brad is just going to pass.
The little Aether Vial activation, by the way, you see a lot of players do that. It's not just cheeky, I see if I have anything. The thing is, if you only tap your Aether Vial when you actually have a creature to go into play, then your opponent knows, oh, maybe I should respond to this. He's definitely putting a creature into play. So it's almost like you need to activate it all the time, or else it's a tell when you do go to activate it.
And this is a super interesting interaction, too. Main phase, he just activates Aether Vial, and Brad says, sure. But once he says sure, it resolves. And now there's a Leonin Arbiter on here, and Ghost Quarter is going to get to just take out a land straight up.
By the way, that Misty Rainforest can't be cracked for mana either.
Right. Oh, another Ghost Quarter, too.
Good grief.
And here's Path to Exile.
What just happened?
And Craig is just decimating the board of Brad Nelson. He's actually using it on the Noble Hierarch, and you can see that Craig is going after his mana.
That poor Misty Rainforest. Brad's sitting on it. He let Aether Vial sneak an Arbiter
He
down.
has no mana now. Now, he does have a Glistener Elf, but Brad decided not to crack his fetch main.
Yep. Does he have a Vines? I mean, because it made sense to not crack the fetch
There's
main.
a lot of reasons why you wouldn't, but there's also downside to not doing it, and then we can see that here. Whew.
Well, Pendelhaven's a real card. Allows Glistener Elf to attack through Arbiter.
Yeah, well, Ghost Quarter's not a bad one either.
Well, it was going to kill something. I mean, it was going to kill the Misty at some point.
It does get him in for a little more on the way out.
Just a reminder, if you played at any of our special events and had prize but didn't claim it, you still can.
Now, it looks like Brad is going to his combat step, meaning that Craig can go for Ghost Quarter and kind of ensure that Brad doesn't get to play anything with it.
Sure.
Sure, it does force, Brad to use it to get in a few more poison, but I think Craig's pretty happy with that because Brad's just not developing his board in that scenario.
Can I tap it for mana? Looks like he wants a giant growth instead of a +1/+2.
Okay, that's some business. Groundswell, and he did play a land.
Gives Craig the ability to chump block.
Indeed.
But that would turn on the Misty Rainforest, so I don't think Craig will.
Yeah, and it's 4, but, from the Groundswell, but, I don't know. He's not dead, right? And
right.
It's going to be a big difference there. So he takes 5 poison total, going to 7.
Craig now untaps and has a path.
This is a tightrope to walk here. Yeah, exactly.
Just whack the Glistener Elf with Path to Exile,
Yep,
right?
totally.
Just lean an Arbiter. Okay. The Arbiter's got to be in the top 5 cards for the weekend. We've just seen
Top 5. Can we go a little higher?
Well, that's our list.
Top 1.
You want it on? Well, Craig has to win the GP for that. Craig wins the GP. Lean and Arbor should be on top of
Okay.
the top 5 cards.
Book it. Brad says go.
Doesn't want to attack into a Vial activation.
Nope, he sure doesn't. And you can see why. There's a lot of 2-drops that Craig can flash in here. And it feels like Craig just turned the corner on this game. And he's actually going to get this extra
Jeez.
Kasali Pride Mage in and attack, I believe, with just the Pride Mage. You know, there's still mutagenic growth, something he really doesn't want to lose his Arbiter, so this gets him in for the 4 damage anyway. Ooh, Forest off the top for Brad. That can help. He's got another copy of Glistener Elf at the ready, but right now they're just not big enough to fight. And Craig's going to stay patient here. He finds a Voice of Resurgence. He did bump his Aether Vial up to 3, though. So he'll have to hard cast that if he wants to play it. Okay, Pride Mage in again. And he's just going to pass the turn back. He'd much rather have that mana available than have another body on the ground. So, it's tied at 7 apiece. How does Brad Nelson find this? He just drew a Verdant Catacombs. Passes the turn. And he is going to move that Vial up to 4, which is going to give him access to Linvala, I believe. Yeah. Doesn't seem like he can kill Brad this turn, though.
Is this whole game that Brad didn't crack Misty's response to Aether Vial?
I don't know. It's hard to say if he had, let's say he had his other forest. I think he runs 2 basic forests in his list. Yeah, he has 2 forests.
Any islands?
No islands. I don't know. I mean, clearly it would have been a better situation for Brad in retrospect just because he would have been able to deploy some of the cards from his hand. Some of them he still wouldn't.
It's not like he has to get a basic.
No, that's
either.
true. He could just get a breeding pool, too. In any case, yes, it would have been much better for him.
I mean, what's Brad's hand is a Blighted Agent and a...
I think he's got a mutagenic growth.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Blighted Agent, at least 1 Giant Growth.
I'll tell you, Brad Nelson's list of top 5 cards from the GP will not have Leonin Arbiter. He does chump block with the Elf. All right, now he's going to activate and put in Linvala.
Here's Linvala.
Let's see, what does an attack with everything get him? 3, 4, 5, 6 damage, still leaving Brad at 1.
Isn't it 8?
Well, there's a block on the ground.
Yeah, and then 2 2s on the ground and a 4 in the air.
Well, one of them has a counter.
Sure.
Yeah, it got chump blocked last turn by an Elf.
Sorry.
No worries. Now, there's still that path.
Why isn't it still 7?
3, 4, 5. Well, he's still going to chump.
Chumps a 2. He takes 2 plus 1 plus 4. Linvala's 4/3.
She's
right?
a 3/4.
3/4.
Yeah.
I thought she was 4/3.
But anyway, moot point here because Craig does have path and may just say, get that thing out of here. No real reason for him to do so. I don't know if there's a reason for him not to do so, though. Well, Brad's just going to scoop him up anyway. And that will do it. I don't think Brad had any way to get out of that in any case.
Right.
And you see him shake his head. So Craig Wescoe putting himself in a really good chance to make it into the top 8 here.
Indeed.
You have him as a favorite.
Yeah, I have him
but
as a
not
favorite.
locked.
I have him as a favorite to be in the top 8 when it's announced, but not locked. That's exactly
So
right.
congratulations, Craig. Tough one for Brad Nelson at the end there. And he ends up taking the loss and finishing a really respectable X3, but he's going to be disappointed with that as he was so close to yet another top 8 for
Yeah,
Brad.
he was. Both Game 1 and Game 3 were sort of narrow losses and decision-intensive narrow losses. Those are the ones that keep you up.
I think Brad's probably going to swing by a dealer booth and pick up some copies of Leon and Arbiter to rip up on his way out the door. That card was a real thorn in his side the whole time. All right. Now we see Game 2 here. Sigrist has taken a route that you'll see pretty often against attrition-based decks like Jund. He's boarded in, well, it looks like he's got an Obstinate Bailout. They also usually will have a couple of Thrag Tusks and, as you can see, the insect
Queen,
tokens
yeah.
left over from Hornet Queen.
She
And
has come and gone.
yeah, because, you were mentioning earlier, Randy, you can just ramp out a bunch of mana sometimes, and you need payoffs.
Yep.
And sure, sometimes you do happen to have the right thing, like a Pact or a Titan. But also, if you just cast enough Thrag Tusks and Hornet Queens against Jund, they just can't 1-for-1 everything forever. And you can just grind them out.
True story.
I wonder what Tarmogoyf's stat is. If there was any way we could just
You're gonna get some
automatically know that.
Troll graphic, aren't you?
Rashad's working on the troll graphic now. Because every time we passively call for the Tarmor graphic, we look at him. He's already getting it ready. So Campbell's down to 4 here with a Dark Confidant on the table.
I mean, there's only like 14 power on the other side. 4 of
With
which flies,
trample
6 of it
fly.
tramples.
James Woolwalker, who's draft number 76.
Sacrifice a creature, says Liliana of the Veil.
On-demand fodder number 97. On-demand fodder number 97 is
Tarmor graphic has arrived, perhaps just in time to see Mike Sigrist finish this thing off.
Yeah, Siggy's got to feel pretty good about this weekend, however this top 8 announcement plays out.
Yeah, I agree.
Puts up a 13-2. He hasn't had, a top 8 quality result since the Pro Tour where he clinched Player of the Year. But it's nice to feel good about yourself going into a tournament like the World Magic Cup. Kind of, even the best players in the world, you miss a couple of day 2s, you have a couple of mediocre finishes. You can't help but wonder, why am I losing? Where's my run of form?
All right, so Sigrist is moving in here. He's not going to get cute. He's just jamming with everything. So the insects are lethal on their own. One of those is going to have to hit the ground if Derek is going to survive. He's also going to have to block with the Tarmogoyf or a combination of Tasigur and Dark Confidant. Do you have it, Derek? This is a lethal attack. Derek has something going on. I mean, he had Sigrist go get his lands. He didn't just say, yeah, you got me.
Right.
Okay, so it is a lightning bolt on an insect and some type of multi-block here.
Lightning Bolt my Liliana so that Tarmogoyf can eat Primeval Titan. Planeswalker goes to the graveyard. Tarmogoyf is now
He lightning
6/7.
bolted himself and redirected it to
Yes,
his Liliana
yes.
so that he could get it
That is precisely what he did.
Tomographic up to 5, 6, 7. That's really just what he wanted. know if I've ever seen anybody do that.
Lightning bolt themselves and redirect to Liliana.
I didn't even know you could. All right, and there it goes.
You can't, it turns out.
Oh, you can't?
You cannot redirect
Okay.
damage. You can't do damage to yourself and redirect it to a
Yeah,
planeswalker. Otherwise,
don't-
Earthquake would be kind of ridiculous, right?
I don't like to jump to conclusions. I'll just assume, this is an interaction I haven't seen, but I definitely have not seen that one before.
I hadn't seen it either. And yeah, it doesn't work.
So, Sigrist wins 2-0, and he is a little less likely than our first match to make it. Is that how you were seeing it, Randy?
Yes, I have Sigrist as an underdog to make top 8, but live. You
Okay.
know, I've got Craig with like a 70% chance to be in, and Siggy at like 40%.
Okay.
You know, they're
Ooh,
going
this is
to
gonna
be
a
in the
good
like
sweat.
7, 8, 9, 10. Both of them should be in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range.
All right. We want to remind you the World Magic Cup is coming up December 11th through 13th. We're going to be in Barcelona bringing you all the action. It is
And-
awesome team event.
No tiebreakers required for Sigrist to get into that one.
Yeah, he's in.
He's already done that one.
Team captain for that. All right, so that will do it. We got something else coming up?
We got one recorded, right?
No, we're going to move somebody over, I think, is what's happening.
Oh, I think Cuneo's still playing.
Okay.
Oh, maybe he's the one that's recorded, but then Sullano and Alex Bianchi should be in there. Here we go.
All right.
We get a game 3. Well, we will.
That, I believe, is not Sullano, though.
No, that's there we go.
go.
I was like, that is Mike Sigrist.
Cleaning up his mess. Okay. So Andrew Sullano, you'll recognize his name from Grand Prix Oklahoma City, where he made top 4 with this deck, Elves.
Yeah, and we've actually got the records wrong. Sullano is 12-1-1.
Right, which is a big difference for him because it does mean a win puts him in.
Yeah, it is a clean win and in for him. And Alex Bianchi has the best breakers in the room. I mean, the pairings algorithm does this where it kind of pairs top down in the final round of the Swiss so that players are always playing other people who have approximately the same incentives as they do. So this one is super clean.
Okay.
Alex Bianchi has the best tiebreakers in the room. Andrew Sullano is a point above the scrum. So this game will determine one of the spots in the top 8.
And it is this game, as we
This
have it at
game,
one
yes.
game apiece. So it looks like a fantastic start for Andrew Sullano so far, as he's got double Heritage Druid going. I guess one is enough, but also the Elvish Archdruid. So, yeah, he's got a ton of mana.
It'd be kind of a big deal if this Elf deck goes back-to-back modern top 8s.
Agreed, totally.
And in the same guy's hands, too.
Yeah.
See so much of that, people specializing in modern decks and just doing well.
Yes, it's true.
It's like that. I saw that there was a Sliver deck that made a decent run into today.
It did.
I'm like, wow, I know there was a Sliver deck somewhere. It had top 8'd a Star City event a couple of months ago. It was the same guy. It's just that guy
Sliver specialist.
is the Sliver specialist.
Yeah, I looked at that list earlier. What does that one do again?
It's fun.
Had to look up one of the slivers. Couldn't remember
That's
what
his
it did.
opponents are doing, too. They
Yeah.
don't really get to look them up. They just kind of have to figure it out on the fly.
Ooh, here's Collected Company. Oh, but Dispel is going to hit it from Alex. This is one of the big payoffs was Collected Company for Andrew after having amassed this this group of elves. Okay, well, you'll take it. Elvish Visionary to keep the cards flowing. He's going to need more than that to get this game over with. Collected Company would have been massive there.
Yeah, for sure.
Find an Azuri and just call this thing a game.
Yeah, and against the normal Jeskai deck, you could feel like, I got a couple turns. I can do this beatdown plan. But Bianchi's on Jeskai Twin, and there's a Pestromite in play. So every time Andrew Sullano says go, he's got to worry that he's just going to get comboed out.
All right, it looks like he found... I couldn't quite see it. Ah, Shaman of the Pack it was. All right, 1, 2, 3,
Take
4, 5,
6.
6. And you got to figure, like, he can just rumble here, too.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a billion mana, but nothing to do with it. So
Right.
just now it's time to just start beating down.
Yeah, 2/2s abound here.
And like I said, this would be a good enough plan against a lot of Jeskai-colored decks. But Alex is one Splinter Twin away, right? Does he have 2 red mana? Yeah, there's a full flood is Strand there.
Yep. So he's going to take 4 damage here to drop to 9.
He's probably
Llanowar
dead
Elf
next
down.
turn.
Yeah, this is big. And he's going to need to find something. Again, this is for top 8, too. There is tons on the line for these gentlemen.
12 power for Andrew Sullano, and Pestromite can only block 3 of it. Like, maybe he could activate a Colonnade and buy a turn.
Let's see what he draws
But
here.
basically needs a Splinter Twin. That was not a Splinter Twin. He's got a Snapcaster.
Yeah, he's got a Dispel and a Snapcaster plus a Tarn and a Strand in his yard, so not a lot of action there either. He's going to attack. He has Colonnade if he plays a land.
Yeah, it seems like the plan is, does Colonnade block enough?
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Doesn't he get hit for 8?
2, 4, 6, 8. Yes.
Snapcaster's not good enough. Snapcaster and Colonnade can't both block.
Nope.
Isn't the all-in attack just lethal now?
Yes, it is. I
think
mean, he Andrew still has to make that attack, but I think
Right.
he showed last turn that is what he's thinking now that he's out of gas. He drew a card with Horizon Canopy. Ooh,
Oh,
another
geez.
Elvish Archdruid. So now
Well, the attack wasn't lethal before.
he's got damage to spare.
It is now.
Alex is surveying the scene.
Oh,
Resto.
there's a Resto Angel in his hand. We missed that card.
I did not see the Restoration Angel, but still, he's going to get the Pestermite back, which is going to take out a blocker and give him an additional blocker.
Right.
Excuse me, take out an attacker and give him an additional blocker.
Is he obliged to chump with the Pestermite, though?
Chumps there, blocks there, takes
Yeah.
6 here anyway.
Here's the all-in attack. Restoration Angel
No,
could block Shaman, but that's 3/6/9. I think he has to block with both. Now, he can keep his Restoration Angel alive.
yeah, he can eat one
But
elf
not the
and chump
Pestermite.
block the other.
Or we can chump block with Snapcaster and Resto, and then keep Pestermite alive.
That is true. Which is pretty important when you're digging for a Splinter Twin.
Yeah,
here.
he's going to take 6 here and give him buy himself one more draw step.
Yeah, I like it. Oh, this is going to be a sick peel. Guaranteed Serum Visions, by the way.
Resto
Yeah,
survives.
that eats that, and
I mean, it's not a. He's got
Go.
like 10 he can attack with straight.
oh, he hit it! Splinter Twin off the top!
For top 8 of the Grand Prix.
Oh, wow. Alex Bianchi
Wow.
with the rip, and Andrew Sullano is going to be thinking about that one for a while. Super tough beat for him. Oh, man. That is going to do it for round 15 here from Pittsburgh.